Am I the a-hole for serving my roommate's girlfriend's leftovers at my dinner party without asking? Here's the situation. My roommate, Dave, has been dating this girl, Lisa, for a few months now. Lisa is not just any girl, she's an incredible cook. Whenever she comes over to our place, she whips up these amazing meals that could easily belong in a top restaurant. She seems to enjoy cooking as much as we enjoy eating her food. Every time she's in the kitchen, you can smell the delicious aromas wafting through the apartment, making your mouth water in anticipation. The thing is, Lisa always makes way too much food. Like, we're talking full-on banquet levels of leftovers every single time she cooks. The portions she makes could easily feed a family of 6, but it's just her and Dave eating. And because of this, they leave a ton of leftovers in the fridge. I'm talking containers upon containers of food, pasta, roasted chicken, stir fries, you name it. Now, here's the kicker. Dave never eats the leftovers. It's like he has some weird aversion to eating food that isn't freshly made, which is baffling to me. I'm not exaggerating when I say that every few days I have to go through the fridge and clean out all the old food Lisa leaves behind. It just sits there, taking up space, until it starts to go bad. It's gotten to the point where I've made it a part of my weekly routine. Every Sunday night, I go through the fridge, grimacing as I toss out Tupperware after Tupperware of spoiled food. A few weeks ago, I decided to throw a small dinner party for some friends. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not much of a cook. My culinary skills are pretty basic. I can manage to make a decent plate of spaghetti or scramble some eggs, but that's about it. So, naturally, I was starting to get stressed about what to serve. I didn't want to order takeout because I wanted to do something a bit more personal, but I also didn't want to attempt cooking something elaborate and end up with a disaster on my hands. Then I had a thought. Why not ask Lisa to help out? She's always cooking at our place anyway, and I've always complimented her on how good her food is. She knows her way around our kitchen better than I do, and I figured she might even enjoy the chance to show off her skills to a new audience. So I casually mentioned it to Dave, asking if Lisa might be cool with cooking for my party. Dave seemed a bit taken aback at first, like he wasn't sure how to respond. He paused for a moment and then said he'd ask her about it. The next day, Dave came back to me with an answer. He told me that Lisa wasn't comfortable with the idea because she didn't want to feel like she was being taken advantage of. I was a little surprised by that. It was just a casual request, and I didn't think it was a big deal. But I respected her decision and told Dave no problem, I'd figure something else out for the party. The night before the party, Lisa comes over as usual and starts making dinner for her and Dave. I'm in the kitchen with them, hanging out, trying to get some inspiration for what I might serve at the party. I casually mentioned that I'm still trying to figure out what to make, and I'm feeling a bit stressed about it. Lisa doesn't say much in response, just gives me a polite nod and continues cooking. As I'm standing there, I notice she's making a lot of food, like way more than what would be needed for just her and Dave. It's almost like she's prepping for a feast. After they finish eating, they do what they always do, leave all the leftovers in the fridge. At this point, I'm looking at the fridge, which is now packed with these freshly cooked, delicious-looking leftovers. And then it hits me, given the history of these leftovers just sitting there, uneaten, until they start to smell and I have to throw them out. Why not use them for my party? The food is great, there's plenty of it, and it's already there. It seemed like a perfect solution to my problem. The next day, a few hours before my friends were set to arrive, I take out all the leftovers from the fridge. I heat them up, arrange them nicely on some serving platters, and set them out on the dining table. I even whip up a bean dip to go along with it. When my friends arrive, they're immediately impressed by the spread. They keep complimenting me on how great the food is, asking if I took cooking classes or something. I just smile and thank them, playing it cool without giving away too many details. The party goes off without a hitch, and everyone leaves happy and full. That night, after the party is over, Dave comes home. He doesn't even check the fridge, he just orders a pizza for himself, eats it, and then goes to bed. I'm thinking to myself, wow, he didn't even notice the leftovers were gone, but I figure he'll probably notice in the next day or two. Sure enough, 2 days later, after Lisa has already come over again and cooked another dinner, Dave finally notices that the fridge isn't overflowing with old food. He turns to me and asks, "Hey, what happened to all the leftovers from the other night?" I decide to be honest with him and tell him I used them for my party. I explain that I figured it was better than letting them go to waste, especially since he and Lisa never seemed to eat them. But instead of understanding, Dave gets super mad. He says I had no right to take the food Lisa made, that it was her cooking and not mine to give away. I argue back that it was just leftovers, and they were likely going to end up in the trash anyway, so what's the big deal? Now, both Dave and Lisa are pretty pissed at me. Lisa feels like I took advantage of her cooking without asking, and Dave is upset because he feels like I disrespected his girlfriend. They're both saying it was a jerk move to steal her food for my party. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking they're overreacting. After all, it was just food that was going to go to waste otherwise, and it's not like I claimed I cooked it myself. So, am I the a-hole for serving my roommate's girlfriend's leftovers at my dinner party without asking?